That's tight. I like that view. Got two different doors. Give you two different options. Anyway, um, this video, I'm Marc Marcel. How you doing? This video is about um, the uncaused cause, God, so to speak. Um, when you're young, usually we think of God as like this light being, or like this guy that sits in the clouds and listens to us. We sometimes think that it is a physical in its energy, but as you grow, you kind of get out of those beliefs, or kind of have a more complex thought of God. You believe that it's energy, unless you still think of God as this man in the clouds. But anyway, the uncaused cause, people, we know there's a cause for something. They say there has to be uncaused cause. They say, this made that, whatever made that, made something, whatever made something, made, it goes back. You keep going back. So when you get to the point of it, you come from the uncaused cause, the something that comes from nothing. And people have wondered about this and like, well, how can God come into exist? How can it be? And the reason that God exists is because God has always existed. God is a sound. Have you ever noticed that there's no such thing as silence? For instance, you can be in the quietest and quietest and quietest of places. I've even noticed this when I've been in a studio booth. Studio booths are like very, very good for like as far as sound not getting in the booth, especially when you put the headphones on. But have you ever noticed that even in the moments of the most quietest place that you think that you can be, you still hear like this light humming sound in your ears? It sounds like a tea whistle, just staticky. It's very hard to explain the sound of it, but you can hear it. And when you pay attention to it, it grows louder and louder and louder. And the only time that you hear it is when there's no other sound around to really block it out. But you realize that there's no such thing as silence. It's always been there. That sound is always there. It's always going to be there. Even in the moments of the time that you think there's silence, nothing, there is still something. There's still that silence. There's still that something coming out your ears. So God is a sound. Uncaused cause. It's funny because I have this tattoo, and I've had it on my hand like 3 years even before I really understood the meaning of it. I understood, it means 4 different levels of meditation: God, peace, and the sound of God. But I never truly grasped it, and I didn't even grasp this when during an astral journey of mine. I understood this when I was watching a television show on the History Channel, Stan Lee's Superhumans, Marvel Superhumans, something like that. And a guy came up riding on the bike, John, I don't want to get his name incorrect, but a guy came up riding on the bike and he was blind. And the host asked him, well, how can you do that? How can you ride on the bike, if you can't see? And he was like, because the sound vibrates. He makes clicking noises, and the sound vibrates and hits the objects. The sound hits the objects, and it vibrates, and it makes light for him to see. It makes sound vibrates, makes light for him to see light. for him to see. And it hit me. Wow, sound makes vibration, vibration makes light. Sound has always been there, just like that sound in your ears. The frequency. I call them frequencies. I call them connections to what we really are. It's always been there. It's like, I believe those things in your ears are things that it's getting away from the subject, but it's a constant stream of downloaded information that's being downloaded that connects you to what you really are. Because on the other side, they're taking information of all this illusion. But anyway, to get back on the subject. So basically, that's what God is. And it's always been there. And it's funny because if you've taken every sound that there is and added on to it, like layers, a ball bouncing, children crying, planes flying, car crashes, laughter, just every sound that you can think of, trees blowing, pretty soon it starts to sound staticky, like, but if you keep adding on sounds, just keep adding on sounds. There's every sound that you can think of, a car honking, glass breaking, just everything. Keep adding on sounds. Eventually, it comes to a perfect harmony of one sound of Om, the sound of God, the sound of everything, the sound of you. So it's funny because, in a sense, atheists, are correct in a way when they say there's nothing, because there is nothing but the humming sound that was always there in your ears, which is you, the sound. It's a beautiful sound. Anyway, live, learn, love, and laugh. Respect.
I know they give me respect, even before walking the venue, they see it tatted on my neck.
Marc My Words Productions.